Welcome, everybody, to the first episode of Acadium Plus Coffee Chat for entry-level marketers and mid-career changers trying to break into a career in digital marketing. I'm your host, Alex, and today with my co-host, we have Keisha.
Hi.
Henry.
Welcome, everyone.
And Simon.
Hello.
And we're excited today to have Arush Prem. We're going to be talking about achieving success through imperfect action.
And for this trend check episode, we'll be talking about Be Real and how social media platforms are following suit. Why should we care? And why is it very important to understand what new platforms like these are changing the way of how we share content as a social media specialist? All that next on the podcast.
Hey, Arush, how's it going?
Hey, all well. How are you guys?
Good. Thanks for being on.
Good.
Thanks
So-
for having me.
To get things kicked off, tell us about how you got into digital marketing in the first place.
So my degree, it is in computer arts. So my majors in my degree was graphic designing, and my minor was videography. So I started my career as a graphic designer, but then I was really interested into creating content because my minor was videography and photography. That is when I sort of very gradually pivoted to digital marketing and social media. It was content creation was basically my hook to get into it.
Nice. And how did you come to know about Acadium Plus and how did that all work out?
So I moved to Canada in 2018. And as you know, moving to a new country, I didn't know anybody here. And digital marketing was my field. And I was told that to get a job in Canadian market, you need to have a Canadian experience. So when I started searching, I came across Acadium and they were offering apprenticeship and, working with local businesses to gain experience in marketing. That is how I actually came across Acadium. And that is when I started with doing internship. I did about 3 to 4 internships and my mentors were amazing. I loved it, got hooked. So I was like, okay, I'm going to continue doing that. And that is when Eric got in touch and was like, you've been doing, these apprenticeships. Why don't you, there were certain gaps in my knowledge because of the change from a different country. The market is different. How things are approached here are different from Pakistan. Over here in Canada, you've got 83% penetration rate of internet. In Pakistan, it's 20%. So people over here actually use internet for their daily working and whatever they do. The first thing that they go to is internet. So the market here is very different. That is when I realized that Acadium Plus will be a very good venue for me where I can learn about North American market.
So was your first apprenticeship, was it in content creation with the videos and doing graphics and things like that?
So my first apprenticeship was with Dominic. He was based in America and he taught me a lot. It was about content creation for him, but at the same time, he actually got me to work in evaluating businesses and finding opportunities to help them grow through digital marketing. So that is what I learned from him. The really good thing that he taught me was he was working with BuzzSumo and he was doing videos for them, video content and all. And I used to help him with that too. But at the same time, he was teaching me how to reach out to businesses and see what are the opportunities over there, how we can help them to do their communications and social media. That was my first apprenticeship.
Got it.
Yeah.
So you've been in Acadium Plus for a while now. Talk to us about a time where you started feeling frustration and maybe some bumps in the road where you were really trying to do your best and maybe it tipped into perfectionism, because I think a lot of people struggle with that. And we'd like to hear your perspective of maybe what started that and how you have been dealing with that.
So yes, actually, there are a lot of pointers in that case. When I started with apprenticeships, internships with Acadium, and I was working for different mentors, I actually realized that I was being held back by this knowledge that whatever I have is not enough. I have to do more. I have to maybe do a diploma, maybe do a certificate, and then I have to perfect myself in there. So it was just getting very overwhelming for me. I have this real issue of being a perfectionist. I want, if I'm creating a content, I need to know everything about it and I need to be the best in it. The problem with that was it used to take so much time, and at the same time, it would just overwhelm me. So this actually was hindering with my job search because whenever I would go online and I would look at the job opportunities and job descriptions, I would say that, okay, I know how to do this, but I do not know if it is up to mark for this market. And then I would say that, okay, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, but I do not know how to do that. So most of the time, 80% of that job description was something that I already knew how to do, but the other 20% was something that I was aware of, but I did not really I was not perfect at that. That deterred me from applying for the jobs. I have to be perfect. I had to do all the job description, whatever it was. And that actually ate into my confidence when I was applying for it. Working with Acadium Plus, that is what really helped me because Eric told me that, listen, you have to, as long as you can do 80% of that job, it's good. You should go ahead with that because there are two things that you have to understand. If you can do 100% of the job, it will be more like there will be nothing to learn. So you would need to have a job where you can learn and basically grow from there. Otherwise, you will not be excited about it. There will be nothing to learn. So it's always a good idea that you have like 80% of that what you know. The second very point that hit the bullseye for me was that you don't have to be perfect at everything that even if you know whatever is given in job description, you do not have to be 100% at everything. As long as you can do it, you're good.
Mhm.
One thing that stayed with me was I was reading this book by Seth Godin. He said that the most important thing is that you have to ship whatever you are doing, you have to ship it out rather than just working on it and keep on working on it. The time will pass.
I just want to like acknowledge that like it's great that you know that you have this perfectionism or what is considered like a pro ends up being a con for you, and it's causing you to be detrimental into pursuing a career that you would excel from. I wanted to like really emphasize on this idea about the 80-20 rule. It's like you work 80% of the time and only 20% of it will be appreciated.
Yeah.
And it's a very common thing. A lot of managers don't want you to overthink your job. What they want you to do is get the job done.
Mm.
And all the necessary framework is iterative. And that's really the nature of your job is that, yes, you shipped it. Now people are going to react to it. And how can you acknowledge those revisions, those feedback, and turn it into something better? That's where the iterations come from over time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that feedback loop is so important, especially because I had a time when I was an entrepreneur and I was making like a physical product. And sometimes you get ideas to test out. And so you can never spend too much time trying to make the product perfect before you release it in the market. It's better just to do like a sample or a prototype, put it out, get a feedback from your
Mhm.
customers or get that feedback loop and then make it a little bit better, put it out there, make it a little bit better. And then when you feel like you get something really good, then you could scale the production of it and put it out in mass market. And it's the same thing when you're working in marketing. It's like you'll have an idea, especially for social media. You just got to iterate all the time. You're constantly experimenting and testing. And that's what makes social media so fun and exciting. And the same thing with
Yeah.
content. So if you have a good idea and you've done your due diligence with the research, like while you're on the job, and you put it out there, even if it doesn't meet the goal that you originally had, if you're getting feedback, you're still learning from it. Or with a paid campaign, it's the same thing. It's like you put it out there, maybe you don't get as many clicks, but you get more data to do a better campaign next time. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I had a question for you. I want to give the audience sort of a time frame of you acknowledging that, hey, you can tap into that perfectionism side a little bit too much, and maybe you practicing that in real life. So, two questions. One, how have you been leaning towards overcoming that or acknowledging it? And what is your framework for overcoming that? And if you can give a real life example, whether at work or maybe in your job search, that would really help people as they're sort of sitting in at their kitchen table trying to figure out how to overcome it so they can have better career progression.
So the first part about acknowledging that I am dealing with this issue it was actually my own stress level because I
Oh,
was constantly stressed. There was like something on the back burner in my mind that, okay, this has to be done. Like that was not letting me focus on anything. And this is when I acknowledged that why is this happening? Well, what do I need to do? There was a time when I was so overwhelmed because I need to do these two things, but I cannot approach them because I wanted it to be perfect and I didn't have any time left and basically get the job done. So that is when I had a realization that I am dealing with this issue of being a perfectionist. And I need to really figure out, like, I need to sort of do something about it. Luckily, I was ambassador program with Acadium. That was the time when I was doing that. And I won a session with Eric. So that is when I started. Like he did that session with me for like it was a 30-minute session. And he sort of pointed that, it doesn't have to be like that because we were talking how to have some certain brand pillars in place. And he just gave me 3 pointers. He was like, you need to have your resume ready. You need to have your website where you do not have to have like something really big. It's just whatever is on your LinkedIn, just put that on there. So have one page ready where somebody comes onto your web page. The person should know who Aruj is and what does she do, and that's about it. It doesn't have to be extravagant. And the third thing that he said was that you need to have your social media in place, like your LinkedIn, especially, has to be properly in place and all. You should have a photo and all of that stuff. So I was like, okay, that was a very bite-sized thing that he told me to do. I quickly just went around and did the LinkedIn, and for website, I spent a month doing it myself.
You spent a month
A
on that
month.
brand pillar?
So I spent a month because I wanted it to be perfect. So I did all my slides.
Okay.
I did everything. This is how it should be. This is like so. After ample research, I found out that okay, my website will be hosted on this HostGator, and this is how I'll do the WordPress and all that stuff. It actually took me a month to put together that one page. It was ready and everything. I was very proud of that that I did it finally.
Yeah,
And
that's awesome.
joined. And then we joined Acadium Plus and everybody else did that within a week time. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Maybe doing too much, girl. That's okay though. I mean, with
Yeah.
the website, it's definitely one of those things that it's an ongoing process too. Like you improve it over
Mhm.
the years. Like with mine, does now my portfolio site looks nothing like how I did it initially, like 2 years ago. But like as I got more experience, more feedback, then I started to add different pages. Or like another thing I started to do when I would apply to jobs is I saw they started to ask for the same kind of samples over and over again. So then I started to highlight that on my website because I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, every job post is asking for a white paper sample. Every job post is asking for social media post example. So I'm gonna like put that on my portfolio site. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things. Just throw it up there and just so people see that you know how to do a little bit of copy about yourself and explain what you do. And then you could build off of that.
Exactly. And that is when I realized that I could have like literally gone on to Wix and do my thing. It would have been all right. How that is how I acknowledged about that. And the second question that how I overcame it, I'm still in process of working on it. I'm still working towards that. But what the practical things that I do for that is first thing, I do the easiest task first. So something
Okay.
that quick wins. What are the things that I can do quickly, like within 5 minutes? What is that? So I'll just go in there, push myself, and do that for 5 minutes. That actually gives me encouragement that okay, I've done this. I can actually now go and tackle the bigger tasks. And
Yeah.
then I try to divide those bigger tasks into smaller pieces. I
Hmm.
struggle there because I'm more like that kind of person who like if I go into doing something that's somewhat difficult, I would just keep on going and keep on going and keep on going. Next thing I'll know is that I've spent 10 hours on that.
Yeah.
And it would get done, but then by the end of the day, I would be so tired that I wouldn't really want to go back to it again.
Yeah.
So that is where I'm still like struggling a little bit. So what I do is that now lately, other people actually suggested a very good thing, and that was you have to give yourself time to celebrate that win too. So you have to
Well,
relax. So what now I've just started doing is that I allocate myself time. So for example, if I have to do a website now, I'll just do one section and I'll do that within an hour. And after that hour, no matter what, I'll stop it. I'll just cut it down there and I will do something else or relax or whatever, that I will give myself that celebration, that I will give myself that time to celebrate my accomplishment. And
I love
that
that. That's
helped
great.
me immensely because I want to go back and get that, that validation again. So I go back, do my next section, and then I'm like, okay, I did that within 1 hour and I'm actually getting better. And believe me, that has helped my wedding planning as well.
Ah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I managed to plan my entire wedding in 2 weeks because of this thing. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do my work. After work, this is what we are doing, and this is where we are going. That's it. And we go there and do that work. And after by 10 o'clock, we are by, and it's done. So we just do that.
Yeah.
Let's
Can
go.
I
So
share another thing, Rouge, that made me think of you that I learned when I was running a business too is like there's this journal that I had that asked you to do a brain dump task. So basically you dump everything out of your head before you start your day of all the things you want to get done and then circle the top three most important things. So it's kind of like the 80-20. It's like what are the 20% of things that are going to make the 80% impacts? Like the seed sowing tasks, the tasks that are going to like pay off big time
yeah,
long term. So I circle those top three and I'm like, okay, if I don't get everything else on this list done, but I get these top three things done today, I'm going to feel accomplished and I'm going to feel really good about myself. The reason why I thought of this, because my sister, she's very much so type A perfectionist. She's the firstborn. She's that classic like type of person who's super overachieving. And sometimes like she'll approach her weekend saying like, I'm going to do all these things. And I'm like, you're not going to get like half of that ish done, but okay, girl. And so like, I like tell her, just try to focus on the most important things. So it's the same approach, how you're using it at work and you're using it to plan
yeah.
your wedding. I love that. It's super cool.
Really awesome. I really appreciate everything you've been sharing. I think that's something I have to start implementing as well. And since you're already on fire, I mean, is there one piece of advice you want to give to our listeners or something you've learned?
Yes, I would say perseverance. That is the most important thing. You have to persevere. I believe that hard work always talent. If you work at something, you will achieve it, but you have to persevere to gain it, and you really have to want to do it. So this is my one lesson that I learned from my journey, that just keep at it and you'll be good.
Perfect. Thank you for that.
Okay. So this is the part where we actually talk about industry updates. In particular to yours, we are going ahead and just pertaining to social media. I don't know if you've heard of Be Real before, but it started to build up so much that a lot of social media platforms are following suit. And the first one that really does follow suit with it is Instagram. So I wanted to really dive into what Be Real is all about. It is a social media platform that just recently launched not too long ago, within this year. And what it does is that it pings your phone to take a snapshot of what you're doing in real time within 2 minutes. And the interesting part about it is that one, there's no advertising on the platform. And then two, you take a photo of both the front and the back of the camera.
Oh my
So you really,
goodness.
there's
This
no
is crazy.
Just
there's
say,
no filters like whatsoever.
I don't
It's
like
like
this already. Like as somebody with a
yeah,
dependent and a child, like because sometimes you know how like you'll try to make a little corner of your room look really
yeah,
neat and then the back is like
yeah,
chaos. Like so I don't like
yeah.
this.
I've been playing around with it and like trust me, 80% of the time I get a double chin. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I can't believe I'm using this.
Okay, sorry.
And
yeah. It actually,
it's so weird because you're kind of like in this angle and you're like, your front photo, it's so beautiful, but you look at yourself, I'm like, why can I not see this? And so I'm still navigating the application, which is fair. But the attention of the consumers they're grasping it so much. They love this application. It's super authentic. It really takes on a different narrative of what social media was all about. It was the beginning of time that social media was supposed to be like your Kodak moment, the moment that will make you thrive and make you happy and remember. And now Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok are kind of taking a different narrative. They're taking much more like aesthetics and a lot of thought in the story and behind it. On top of that, they're monetizing on it. Be Real is still far off from that. Who knows what's going to happen to that? But like, because of the prominence of people getting onboarded to this application, a lot of other social medias are following this same sort of feature. Instagram has recently announced that they're doing their thing called the Candid Challenge, the IG Candid Challenge, which does pertain to the same idea of Be Real, which is like the dual camera experience. And then we have TikTok doing the same thing. Snapchat is also doing dual camera options as well. So clearly, this feature, which was considered a niche, is now being like a competitive feature, and people want to not lose their consumers for something that's so unique. So I guess my question is like, would you see this as more of a trend? It's not going to happen forever. It's like a raving fan. Eventually it's going to dim down, or would you say it's actually going to keep picking up? Like, what would you say is like, your reaction on this sort of trend happening?
Okay. I believe personally that it might be something that may get a lot of traction, and it is already getting it. And one of the major reasons behind this whole rave is because a lot of people think that social media is fake, and whatever is presented on socials is all dolled up, and everything is very curated and it's very made up just for that. A lot of models, you see a lot of like nowadays I'm seeing these trends on TikTok and all where people are all the users are actually showing like this is real. I've got I've got fat here and there. I'm not perfect. I do not really look perfect. This is how my skin like for makeup. A lot of times it said this is how real makeup looked like, and this is how it looked like on on photos and pictures because it's airbrushed. So I think this particular trend it was birthed because of this phenomena that people this belief that people think that it's all fake, and I think it is here to stay. It may have some modification because we are innately are like we want to present ourselves nicely. Not everybody is confident enough to present themselves naturally at all. So I see there's some changes being made to it, but I think it is going to be like it will stay. I think it's here to stay.
Not everybody's comfortable with showing the double chin, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
But it's kind of an interesting take. It's like a backlash to everybody always trying to present perfectly and it's perfectly polished because it's
Yeah.
starting to become like, like magazines and stuff like that. For whereas,
Yeah.
and the origin of it, it was more of just like showing your slice of life, right? And your slice of life isn't always perfect and it's like a pin board, but it's just messy. And, this is what I look
Yeah.
like when I actually wake up versus like just woke up like this and you got like
Yeah.
hair on.
I want to take this question out to Henry because he works in one of the most prominent firms in the industry. What do you think would be the ways of brands to monetize in something in this sort of niche? Because again, there's no advertising, but some companies, like I believe it's Wendy's, that now has an official account in Be Real. It's the first brand that really got onboarded, and they're using user generated content to create some sort of authentic voice in this platform. But what do you think is going to happen in time that when the demand is so high, advertising would start to pick in? What do you think are your thoughts on that one?
It depends. I mean, I'm on the opposite side. I think this is just a hot trend. I think it's gonna go down, but I can see how it will pick up. I feel like a lot of people with social media are taking steps away. I think a lot of celebrities have been stating that, especially what's her name, Millie Bobby Brown. She stated her experiences that she's been struggling and bullied and sexualized, and she's staying away. And there was another celebrity said that he's staying away from social media as well. So I think Be Real does have potential to be more impactful. I mean, the advertising world is a name in the game. There's companies who really didn't do advertising. Now they are. Like Best Buy became one of them now, and I never thought they would ever start advertising. So it just all depends. I still think it's just a trend, but maybe down the line, Be Real will start realizing, hey, to generate more money, let's start, advertising. Let's give the people the option to do that. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So you mentioned, Simon, user generated content. So like I'm trying to think of the industries and the kind of businesses where that would be, an advantage for them. So maybe more like direct to consumer kind of businesses could use it, but I don't know, like I can't see B2B. Maybe I'm not thinking creatively enough because
Yeah,
I'm
I
very much so in like the SaaS B2B world.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I wonder what that would even look like, or maybe it would be fun for companies to use for employer branding, like said, because I see a lot of people on LinkedIn showing their office, like their remote office, like this is what my work environment looks like. And so maybe, they could do a campaign with their employees at a startup, like to do a little be real. I haven't even like looked at the example to see what it looks like when it's posted, but that's the only context that I can think of. What do y'all think?
I think there's a lot of opportunity to play around this point of view sort of deal where you get to see the front and the back. And so being able to say that, you're taking a photo of you smiling, holding the product, but at the same time, what's in front of you is like the experience of it itself is another implementation that you can do for content strategy. It really plays very differently. There's no way for us to really imagine how B-Reel is going to start building a much more impactful way when it comes to brand awareness. But amplification is solely the biggest part of what this platform is all about. It is taking attention of so many consumers, and in terms of, you know, a new feature, a niche, it's something where people are going to start thinking about monetizing, and they're always going to try to figure it out one way or another.
The only thing that I think it will work in a B-Reel for both sides is if you are touring someplace. So, tourism. The
oh,
Ooh, there you go.
I look like this.
Yeah, I love that actually. Now get on that, Be Real.
I'll be real. Higher.
Oh, See, this is why I don't do social media. This is why I stay in content. But yeah,
I
'cause I
know, I
can't
know.
keep up. I need people like Simon to tell me what's happening.
Going along with what you were saying with perseverance, I think there's some people who might, and I think I'm a victim of one of them, is taking it too far. So possibly you could be burnt out. And, with this trend going with quiet quitting, is that something you agree upon? Is that something that you feel like people are taking it too far? Do you agree with the trend going on?
I actually do understand that it can happen if you take it too far. That is why I said that it's very important that you take that celebration, take the win that you have. Yes, I do think that it may be one of the reasons, because there's another side. Like every situation has two sides, right? There's people who are actually trying to persevere, but then there are people who are being forced to persevere, or they're told that, okay, you have to continue and we need this constantly being done. I remember there was back in the day, there was this expectation from the workplace that, oh, you'll put in extra hours, or you're working over the weekend as well. And it was sort of an expectations that for a lot of communicators, that they said that, okay, it's almost like I still see a lot of job descriptions stating that, oh, you might be required to work evenings and weekends. So there is perseverance part from the individual point of view, but at the same time, businesses also work like they actually sort of build on that, and they also try to take advantage of this. So it's a two-way thing. It's like a push and pull thing. So I think yes, this is one of the things that one has to be aware of, and the only solution, in my opinion, to that is that you have to take the win and pause to celebrate whatever you have accomplished. You have to get them. This is how we raise kids too, that whenever they accomplish something, you actually give them a pat on the back saying that it was a good work, and they want to go ahead and do some more. So I think one should treat themselves like that.
Yeah.
I wanted to sort of bring us all to a close by asking a final question. In the context of new digital marketers with little to no experience, as well as those career changers that are wanting to get a full-time role in digital marketing, how could we summarize in 1 to 2 sentences max sort of the subject we're talking about, success through imperfection? Whether that new marketer or career changer is in the first 30, 60, 90 days of a full-time role that they just got hired at. Maybe they're a job seeker, or maybe they're at the apprenticeship level. We'll go around and sort of summarize in 1 to 2 sentences. What's one good takeaway that someone that's listening right now could actually perform it and have the same kind of success that Aruj has been having? So
Yeah, I would say don't be afraid to put it out there, whether it's your own application. If you're not sure, that you're going to get the job or the interview, you're thinking you don't deserve the job, apply. Just do it. Put yourself out there. The worst thing you could do is not even try, then you're definitely not going to get the job. If you're on the job and it's a project or even a pitching idea in the middle of your marketing team in front of your VP and you're not sure it's going to get well received, just put it out there. You don't know what's going to happen, because the very least that will happen is that people will hear the idea and they can start brainstorming together and mind sharing, and then the idea can be refined. And eventually, when you're going to like put the campaign out there, just put it out there, like try it, get some data, get some feedback. If it doesn't hit the goals that you initially thought, or if it doesn't, you know, fulfill the initial purpose like you thought, you're still going to learn from it. And you have to accept that nothing is going to be perfect ever, but you're going to slowly get better little by little.
Beautiful. I don't think I could make it any better than that. But I would have to say is the biggest thing I would say for this episode is perseverance. Don't give up. It's okay not to be perfect. It's okay that you don't fit the description 100%. Like Keisha said, apply, do it. And most importantly, when you get that interview, be yourself. I think a lot of us are afraid and scared that we have to be a robot or this professional person in the interview. It's okay. Be yourself, because they're looking for that cultural fit as well. And if they don't like you, move on. Somebody will. There will be a hiring manager who will love your energy and your style, and you'll be selected. So everyone applying to marketing jobs, I believe in you. Just do it.
I think a lot of it is also having a sense of foundation and support. And so being able to communicate your growing pains with other folks and like-minded individuals are important. Having a mentorship like Eric from Acadia is very important, because you want to be able to channel your frustrations and to acknowledge that these are actually very common things. And it is. It's just never a thing that you never get to discuss. And having the ability to have the community that could, understand that the situation is always going to be the same is great. So you're never alone. I say always connect with like-minded individuals in the marketing industry, whether it be new or not. In the end of the day, the stories remain the same. You're all going to have that sort of breaking point, and you're going to make it in the same way as them as well.
Aruj, any last parting thought for takeaway?
Yes. Yes, I would actually like to say, for all new marketers or whoever are looking to change their career, be open-minded. It's a lot of times, this is what I've experienced. A lot of times, what you think when you look at social media from outside, oh, I like this thing a lot. By all means, go ahead and try that out, but be open-minded towards other areas of social media as well, because you do not know what you will like more. A lot of times I started thinking that, oh, I like digital marketing in terms of paid social a lot. But then I realized when I was working in there that I like content creation more, or social media marketing, like creating organic reach more. So you will tasting every bit of or every area of social media, you will learn a lot, and that is going to help you long term in your career.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Aruj Prem. Thank you so much for joining us, Aruj.
Thank you very much for having me.
This episode of Acadium Plus Coffee Chat is brought to you by Acadium. Gain the work experience, mentorship, and support you need to start your career in digital marketing. Like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. And remember to go to acadium.com/plus for more info.